Like the dew in the morning time. All right, today is and it's 3 o'clock, and the Lord just gave me this idea. And so today is September the 20th, 2024, and I am going to do this recording. I am recording myself on multiple devices and on multiple streams. I am on YouTube, and I'm also using YouTube to record Facebook, and to record the screen of my phone. So God is brilliant with that um, level of technology that He gave me today. That way I can do everything from one device, be on YouTube, be on Facebook, and still record the screen of my phone, which is most important. That is a brilliant technology advancement on the rise in terms of what we could do with putting that technology together, but that's not the purpose of this live. The purpose of this is to get out of my feelings, to get into my spiritual feelings, to get into my purpose, and to channel this anxiety, this frustration, this anger, um, this root of bitterness, this feeling of inadequacy, uh, the feeling of alienation, of rejection, of the systemic racism, hatred. What this person did to me, I consider it um, a hate crime. I do. Um, Only hate could take a person's position of authority and use it in such a way to wreak havoc on a person's life in every possible area in which that person could um, have peace and harmony, medically, financially, socially, judicially, um, every possible way he could sabotage my life, he did. And I often reference it to a tsunami, because a tsunami leaves nothing in its path when it's done. It destroys everything it comes in contact with. And the law destroyed my marriage, which was going to be sabotaged from the beginning anyway. But they destroyed my marriage, my children, my business, my hopes, my dreams, my social contacts, my medical, uh, they sabotaged me medically, um, financially, um, they put me into ruins, and mentally, they tried to destroy me. And my mind is the only thing that I have left. And that is because the Bible says in Romans 12:2 that when you renew your mind in Christ, He'll keep you in perfect peace. And that no, when we renew our minds in Christ, He takes us into our will and our purpose. And I what do you call that? Paraphrase that. But Romans 12:2 says to renew, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you can prove that good, acceptable, and perfect will of God. And so today I want to talk about the bait and tackle. I want to I started this theory and this research in 2021, and I drew the logo, the image that God had put in my heart for it, and what it was and what it stood for and what it meant, and to try and bring education to our culture as African Americans or as minorities, to let us know where we are fighting today. Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, they have fought their battles in their time. Rosa Parks, if she was here today, she would be on MARTA, and that seat would be her fight. Well, today, that's not where we are. We have earned the right to vote, at least to say you did. And we have earned the right to go to schools. We have earned the right to exist with our peers, regardless of our race, origin, sex, etc. But where we are still lost and are not even cracking the pole is in banking, in finance in general, in education, in legislation, and in the medical field. What I am hoping to have happen as a result of my life and what happened to me, I am hoping that I would have a bill passed called Grace's Law. And it's also the meaning behind my cell phone that God gave me, called Grace's Law. So it's, my phone is called GL22. And basically, let me just give a brief narrative about what happened to me, and then go into the bait and tackle, and then go into my purpose. So that's kind of the trajectory of this right here. And let me write that down, because this process triggers me, because I am still healing emotionally, mentally, and physically from the abuse that I endured for so long. And so it is very easy for me to trigger when I come across a thought. And it's 3:12, 3:09. So I started this at 3, and it's now at 3:09. So the agenda is to discuss the bait and tackle, to give a brief synopsis of what happened to me, and then to go into purpose and the GL22. So basically what happened to me is I was in trouble in 2004 for white collar crimes involving a rental scam that I was the primary suspect. And I got in trouble. I went to prison in Georgia and in South Carolina, and I was released in 2008. And without just saying a whole lot, because that is so hard. It's so hard for me not to get stuck right there, because that's a lot went on at that time that I could say. But what I want to say in general is the feds were already in my life at that time, and I had some inclination that something else was going on because of my writings at that time. When I think about them, and even when I wrote my book, first book, In My Shoes in 2012, I wrote a poem called Who the Fuck is Around Me? And it was because I felt something, I knew something, but I wasn't in touch with myself, my spiritual self at that time, to be able to understand and articulate in a way that would have helped me make better decisions and better choices in my life at that time. So they were around me at that time and were in my life presently, and at that time, but I was not physically aware of their presence and had no knowledge of that. And so when I got out of prison in 2008, I moved forward to um, trying to get my life together. And I got out of prison because my son had been taken and put in jail for murder. And so I had to get out and deal with that. And so I got out to a storm of issues to deal with. And so, and I had very little resources and very little money. And I was on the news, and my son was on the news, and the feds were all around and orchestrating this entire event. And so they were the orchestrators of this storm. They were the forecasters. They they put it on. And when I later found out that my first husband was an informant, and my girlfriend was an informant, and now my new husband is an informant, and my sister is, and my son was a product of that, and this and that, and I'm finding out all of this, but I hadn't had a source, a reason for it, because I was not any of the things that they said. And I hadn't found, still to this day, hadn't found a credible reason for why they would have pursued me in such an evil and malicious way, other than the fact that it was just the heart and the intent of the master, the person that led the investigation, that it was just his desire, because he was just an evil, cruel, malicious, devious, defiant, arrogant person. He was just evil. And there is no other. I've tried to think of, well, why were they first involved in your life at all? Who tipped them off to you, or did you do a crime that let them? And the answer is no. The only thing I can think of is my sister Sharon got in trouble and had a lot of years in prison, and then just all of a sudden got out. But I'm thinking, even if they would have made her a deal, what would the deal have been for? Who were you? So that didn't work. So then I said, okay, who are you around? Maybe you were around someone, because a lot of people used to ask me that. You had to have befriended someone that was watched by the feds, and so they kind of spread like a cold. Like, you might cough in the store, and then you get that germ to somebody else, and then that's how the feds work. And so I thought about that. They said maybe you came in contact with someone that was of the feds or in the feds or was an informant and you didn't know. And then they started to look at your life and saw something that they could dig in. So I said, okay, because in 2004, I had a lot of contact with people that were definitely fed worthy. Plenty. That was the, you know, the that's that was the deal. You're a criminal. We're all criminals. All right, let's have fun. But I was always and had always gave the, disclosure. I'm only state level. Like I only do state stuff. 5 years or less. That's my tops. Cause I can't do no more than that. You know what I'm saying? Like that was I used to laugh and joke and have conversations. I'd be like, Chris, do you want to do this? And somebody might ask me, would you like to do this type of crime or that? Like I've had real celebrity type movie type situations, like somebody's in the water with no shirt on, so they're not wearing a wire, and then they pitch a little, scam. And I mean, I've been in real situations like that, and I always have said, I'm good. That's not my thing, but appreciate it anyway. Best luck to you, but I'm good with that because I just don't. It's not my thing. I don't play with the feds like that because the feds are retarded, and I've always knew of them and what they were capable of without having that interaction. That's weird because I would always say back then will let you get to an egregious amount that you cannot possibly get away from. They will ignore your crime pretty much until you get to an amount that you have dug yourself so far in that hole that you can't even begin to get out. This is what they do. And so I said I was never interested. Whereas state, on the other hand, you do a little bit, they got a little amount. They're gonna wait and let you get up about $5,000-$10,000, enough to make it a felony, and then they're gonna put the cuffs on because they need to move on. And so, and then state too, they do it so fast because they have to keep our prison stocked. So that's another reason why they are faster than feds. Feds are slower because when you go to federal penitentiary, you'll be there for a while for the majority of your time, and they don't have that many. But state prisons in Georgia, they build a lot of cages here. So that is the police job in the bait and tackle to keep fishing, to keep the cages and the ponds stocked. And I'm slowly going into the bait and tackle, but going back to my life. So what happened is I got out and this storm had already started. They were ready for me as soon as I got out. I was in it and didn't even know, and events were transpiring so fast. And once I found out and saw the corruption, I immediately thought, as anyone would think, I'm still not thinking that I'm reporting a Fed at the time. At the very first report, that's not what I'm reporting. I'm just using the phrase someone and something. I'm not saying federal agents. I'm not saying this. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just very basic. And so what happened is in 2000 and probably 15, I saw them went like something. I'm still not saying federal, but it was a presence and it wasn't right. And so I started to just get the narrative started to form in 2015. Something is not Right. This same person keeps messaging me, and this same person, it just keeps, I don't understand what's going on. And this is weird, and it's a lot of coincidental happenings that didn't make any sense. And so everyone is dismissive. Chris, you're not doing nothing wrong. Girl, enjoy your life. You got a nice husband, a marriage, and all this stuff. Girl, you just paranoid because you're over there in South Carolina and you went to prison over there. All right, all right, all right. And I'm thinking that, and it's not helping that I have to pass Broad River, which is the entrance to South Carolina's prison, and then I have to pass SLED every day when my husband went to work. So I'm having to get a reminder of the prison system, seeing the different agencies collaborate every day. And it was very annoying for me. So I hated South Carolina because he moved me not even 3 miles from the prison. And so now that I think about that, they probably still had me incarcerated at that point because they totally, I shouldn't rail away, but they totally remade prison records. So he moved me to 801 Chickapin Road, apartment 105, which is 6. And he moved me there, and we lived, and I was happy that he had got me a bigger place to live. I was happy that I liked my apartment. I was happy that I was married, newly married. I was happy that I had support with my son. I was happy that I was getting ready to live this wonderful life. But all along, in the pit of my stomach, I hated, and I knew that something was wrong, and I hated the trajectory that I saw my marriage and my relationship and even my life going, but I couldn't stop the wheels on the train. And so he moved here. I got a good job, and this is where we're going. And then we get there, and that's not the case. And then we start here, and now we're going to another house, and I'm all along saying, but I hate South Carolina. I don't want to be here. This place is so crooked. I'm telling you, I've been to prison here, and they're racist, and I don't want to do, and I did not want to do it, but I had to be a wife. So we're in South Carolina. I'm married, and I'm a stay-at-home wife. And I had to find something to do. And so I created the praise report. And I created it, and I started to do it. And God just poured in all of this wonderful wisdom. And that's when I saw what I know now to be a federal agent. I didn't know it then, but I saw him once that paper was created, and I was en route to Food Lion in Irmo, South Carolina. I had got a stand. They had put my name on the front, the praise report. I was very excited about it. Everybody loved the idea. God gave it to me. Like, everyone listens to bad news all the time. I came up with the paper with nothing but good news, nothing but fun stuff, recipes, good news, miracles, jobs, like real information and data and testimonials, that you have something good with your coffee. Praise goes better with your coffee, not bad stuff. You don't want to get your coffee early in the morning and look at somebody bloody on the street and you got to start your day with that. That's not what you start your day with at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's trauma. But people don't know what they're doing to their brains when they intake in all of that, ingest all of that trauma and turmoil, not only at the beginning of your day, but in general, as you go throughout the day. You're not intended and are not supposed to ingest all of that goriness of blood and violence and all of that. What it does, it has a prolonged effect on your brain and your sleep patterns. But God gave it to me for a different reason, and it was for to spread love and unity and peace in the community, and so that people could still see Christ in a world where it looks like Christ doesn't exist anymore, where no one is really loving God anymore. So he gives me this idea. Praise goes better with coffee, and the praise report. And so I write it. That's my slogan. I did the little teacup. I was all excited. And I was very, very happy. And now that I think about it and think back, that's the very first time I saw that squirrel. The very first time I saw the squirrel that would later be the logo for death and terroristic threats. That was the first time I saw that squirrel. Well, either way, we I get this paper done. I get it all done. That's the first time I see this white man. He's tall. He's about 6 feet, blonde hair at that time, and he's always going forward in this yellow shirt with a collar and like 3 buttons. And I call him Curious George. And so I'm excited. I got my papers on the shelf, and those are mine. And I am black, and I was in prison, and this is what God has evolved my life into. I am excited. So I go to Food Lion to restock my shelf, and he walks up on me, and he has never in his life introduced himself ever. He just approaches and starts firing off questions in a demanding tone. And so he comes up to me, and he is always like this. He never, ever has ever looked me in my eye. He comes up, and he's always walking with his hands behind his back. Always. And he holds his head down, and he starts firing off questions. And he says, "How many papers you got in circulation? You know, you're supposed to have at least 50,000 papers to be in circulation. You got 50,000 papers in circulation?" He's just asking questions. He's really not looking for an answer because he already knows the answer. He's just there to be inquisitive and to see me and to be a master. So he's there, and he's hands on his back, and he talks with his eyes closed or battered, but he will not ever face a nigger because you are not his equal. So he doesn't look at you. He looks down, and he says, "And so what is it that what do you how many papers you got in circulation?" So I answer his questions, and he walks off. He doesn't say bye. He doesn't say thanks for talking to me. He doesn't say, by the way, I like the paper. He doesn't say anything. So I go on. I put an ad in the paper because now I want help. I'm starting to build sponsors, and people are liking it. And I go to a hotel, and I do a formal interview with the white lady. And there was another, didn't know, there's another federal agent there. So moving along in the process, as I'm starting to kick off, I got my paper now in Food Lion. It's in Crystal's Restaurants. It's in a variety of grocery stores. I even think I had got it in the Bilo. I had got it like in like all the stores like in that little area. I had like 4 or 5 different grocery stores. And I went back to Food Lion one time, and I think I saw him again, and he had put every last paper in the trash. Every last one of them. And I cried. I cried so hard. And I told Ketchup, my husband at that time, that he put all my papers in the trash. And why? And something then I think just knew, because like I was never combative with him. I was never aggressive. I was never argumentative. Something in me from prison never healed. So when I saw white people in authority in South Carolina, it just felt like I'm supposed to submit to their authority because they have it. And because of what I saw, the trauma that I experienced, the abuse that I heard, and what I learned to be true, whether I liked it or not, was that white people were superior. And whatever we say, you do it or you're dead. That was the end. It's not really no gray areas in that. And then because you're in prison, you don't have the right to say I'm not going to, or I don't want to do that. That like it doesn't work like really like that. So I adapted this. I was already impressionable, vulnerable, gullible, very naive, smart and bright, as I was always called in terms of books and stuff. But when it came down to really having street sense and all of that, no, I was really not street savvy and all like that. I was kind of green. So going to prison, that's why my crime was on a level that no one ever had committed, because it was a depiction of my personality and my character and who I was. I was very different. So my crime would have equally have been as such. I wasn't really not the one to really want to go do credit cards, and I've never been the one to want to go in a store and steal. I'm not that. All that gives me anxiety. I'm not going to do any of that. So getting to this point of where I was in my life, I could see how things started to take a wrong turn because I was in prison and I was processing. I was advancing and dealing with traumas from childhood, being raped 3 or 4 times by the time I turned 15, to being molested at a very early age, masturbating at 5 years old, and having a full recollection of being able to have stimulation and reach a point of satisfaction at 5. Someone taught me this very early on, to know what to do, and to get in prison, and all of a sudden now all of this is coming out in my life, and I'm there one day and it just happened. I'm in prison and I'm sitting at the round table with the chairs, and somebody left a magazine there. It was Mary J. Blige on the front, and she was telling her story, and I read it, and it was as if somebody put my life in that magazine and said, this is what you're going to read. And being that the feds were orchestrating this storm, they probably very well staged the magazine, because in prison, no one leaves those because those are valuables. So they probably did it and wanted me to read. And then wanted me to join the support group. And so all this. So I did. I went, did all of this, read the article, and it was as if it was my life. She got abused and molested, couldn't really remember the person, but remembered the event. Um, could go through it, but was didn't suffer the mental trauma of reliving it, but definitely remembered it, knew that it was some maladaptive behaviors associated with it, and couldn't understand her promiscuous time period. So I went through all of that. Long story short, I started to process it. I joined as many groups in prison as I possibly could to keep myself busy and off the building and to look good on paper to the category, the classification team, and to the parole board. When I come up for review, I wanted to have as many stars on my record as I could get. So I stayed in the police face. I stayed in a group. I drew for the visitation. I designed the prison board. I worked in the warden station. I worked near Chaplain Ray. I worked up there when the visitation came and it was kids that were in foster care. I worked everywhere that I possibly could. I even worked in education to keep busy and to have all of those accolades in my file. So what happened, long story short, was in the process of processing this, I'm now learning that I have failed a lot of stages of moral and social development, and I'm looking at myself, I'm looking at my behaviors, I'm looking at my past boyfriends. And so I wrote my mother, and I read the book Beauty for Ashes by Joyce Meyer, and then I read In the Meantime by Alanya Van Zant. So I'm getting all of this wonderful, good education, and then I'm going to groups and I'm listening to all of these horror stories in there about girls that have gotten molested. I heard this one girl's story that she went with her father her entire life, even until she was in prison. She was still actively in a sexual relationship with her father. And and she was white, of course. And I shouldn't say that, like, black, it doesn't happen to blacks, but it was weird. And so I'm in there and I'm going through all of this stuff, and I'm learning this, that, and the other about myself. And so coming forward, I'm in touch with myself. I'm in touch with my crime that I committed, and I'm making amends with myself, with society, and I'm putting all this together. Well, when I came out of prison, a part of me hadn't healed from the trauma of being there and from the trauma itself. It was traumatic to be in a prison where they feed you Nutriloaf and where you the primary uh positions are given to whites, and you they you're you they you know that they're racist, and that the privileged jobs are given to certain people, or you have to do certain things. So I came out with a very bitter taste in my mouth, and it was often said, we got 49 states, because South Carolina ain't even one to me no more. I won't ever go over there no more, ever. We got 49, because I don't even consider that in the U.S. no more. That's out of the country for me. So when I got with my husband and he wanted to go back there, it was such a fear. I was scared every day because I knew that this is a place you do not want to be. They don't, when I got sentenced by Judge Early in 2004 and 5, that man said he had let a white girl go that was trafficking meth with her kids in the car on probation, 4 or 5 times offender, white girl named Holly, walked out the door, gone. She's going home. Black girl comes after him, first time offender. That white man said, "You ain't going home. You going to prison." 8 years. I lost it in the courtroom. You let this white girl trafficking meth with her kids in the car. We heard the solicitor say the whole thing. All us looking at this bitch trying to go to prison for the rest of your life with your kids in the car, and you already on probation, and you are sick like a 4 or 5 time offender of the same thing, and you had a meth lab. Oh, going home. It's not an issue. But this black girl right here, we finna teach this coon a lesson. So he sent me to prison. So I came out of South Carolina with a fear and a phobia that don't fool with these white people over here. They don't play. They don't like you, and you get the worst crime when you come over here because they don't want you here. So I went over there and I said, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm just going to sit here the whole time I'm here. I ain't working. I ain't doing nothing. I ain't doing nothing. So to get into the praise report was an act of Congress. It really was. It was an act of me just keep praying. And even then I said, I ain't doing nothing to make no money from it. And then I was scared to do anything. So in 2015, when the tsunami had started, and my son has is doing the most. He's been running away. He's now ran away about 60 times by 2015. And I'm just sick of him. And so that's when I was forced back into the eyes of the law. And it was dealing with Nico and dealing with it was very hard because now I'm still processing, and now he's put a scar, another scar. I'm still having to fight for my right to be. I want to be a good person. I want to have a good name. I want to be perfect. And so I'm fighting for that label to be a good girl. I do not. I used to cry because I felt like a second class citizen. And so I was on probation, and I had Miss Rice, and I could not stand. I hope she gets fired. She does not ever need to be in any capacity of the law. That is the worst lady ever in life. I was not a criminal. I was not doing anything wrong. And she used to harass me and to abuse me. And she was so mean every time I went. I would leave there in tears after seeing her. So that was my probation officer. And she had a big old nasty ghetto booty and short black hair and the worst attitude and chew gum and pop it up. I mean, she was the epitome of ill. And so I hated her. I hated to go. When it was time to go to check in at probation, I would cringe. I would have anxiety. I would want to cry. I would be nervous. I couldn't eat. It made me sick to have to go and sit in her office, not knowing what she was going to do to me. Not because I had did anything wrong. It was just the fear of being in South Carolina. They don't have to have for any reason to do anything. This is South Carolina. We're white. We can do it. We can make it happen. That's what we do. And so that's the mindset that I had. It was never that as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're good. It was never that. I never had that feeling, never had that sense of freedom. The whole time I was over there, I was miserable. So I'm I'm in 2015. By now, I got my business and I got the praise report. Well, now the praise report is not in anymore. Once he threw my stuff in the trash, that broke my spirit after a while. And then around 2015, Nico got put out, and I said he wasn't coming back in my house. I'm into it with the law now, and they not finna bluff me to make him come back in my house. I don't care what you say. By now, I done developed a little bit of resistance, and I say, well, I don't care. You come, they gonna say I'm bad anyway, because I'm a convicted criminal, felon before. So I don't care what they say. So I'm not going. I'm not finna let him back in my house. So I didn't. I had to go to court about it. It was never finalized. I hired an attorney, and that was the Fed. And so, Mr. Brown. And so I'm going through the process. As I'm going through the process, and I'm starting to see in 2015 some stuff is not right at all. And that's my narrative is for me. So around 2015, I made my first police report, and it was a death threat. And the person said that they were outside. And I was like, and they called from a Chester, South Carolina's number. That was just like Nico's number. And the man said, I'm outside your house. And hung up. And I was like, I was downstairs. Ketchup was at work. It was a quiet neighborhood. Nobody was ever hardly home during the day. I would always like leave my door open. I didn't have a dog at this time. And I would be in the house like I was very carefree in the house. I was not ever like afraid. So at this point, I've I've gotten a little level of fear because I got two ways to get in this house, and then all these windows. And so I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? So I call the police, and I don't know what to think at this point. I don't know if it's Nico, if it's like gang members he was with. I don't know I don't know who it is. But I got the call. And that was my very first police report that I got a death threat. And they said that they were outside. And so I called and made the report. And then from there, my next report it became just someone. Someone is on my phone and someone is changing my information in this. And then it became just someone. And then in 2017, it became, this is the police. They came out. I guess they were officially tired of me saying someone, and that someone wanted to take ownership and credibility. And so they just sent me a big badge, a big police badge with no name, just a badge. And it came to Facebook. And so I opened it, and it was a big badge. So you could know, don't say someone anymore, because it's us. And I was like, well, I'm not doing anything. And that's when I just really was like, I don't want to be over here anymore, because I'm not doing nothing wrong. So by now I am selling furniture, and I am experimenting with that process. I'm going to Goodwill, and I am selling furniture from my living room, and not doing anything wrong with it. I'm not stealing the furniture. I'm not renting furniture, selling it, even though I have sold furniture that I rented, but I'm not doing the scam from 2004. And even in 2004, I didn't rent furniture. I only rented electronics to sell. And I then didn't sell to the general public. I had a little, very small network. And so moving into the whole thing, I was like not liking it, because I could see that it's not working like it should. I mean, I could sell my stuff, but golly, I got to go through so much and get a headache, and all these people got to play on the phone, and I got to do all this different stuff. So I'm starting to notice that it's not really all what it's cracked up to be. So my next report went into the police is doing this to me. And every police officer would say, why? I don't know that part yet, but they are doing this to me. Maybe because I was in prison. I started saying because I was in prison, and they think I'm still doing something wrong. Nope, that ain't that. Because anybody could clearly see you. You went in the Goodwill and bought that sofa, and you took it over here, and you put pillows on it, and you cleaned it, and you washed it, and you did whatever, and you put it on sale on this website, and you sold it. So nope, that ain't it. So then I started to just watch. I was already writing, because I already like to write where I spend money and keep a tally. I was already doing that. And so I got cameras, because stuff started to be weird. Got my first set of cameras in 2016, and it was at 2182 Walker Solomon. And I just put some decoys on the front and the back porch, kind of make people woo, get away. And I put after I did that, I put a camera inside, and I started to notice that it will always malfunction. And then it was from Xfinity, and it was the cameras inside to do the back door. It was backing up the decoys. So she got real cameras, but the decoys is on the outside to back up, so I ain't have to pay for all them extras. But I got real cameras. So got cameras installed in the house. So I could see everything, see the door, hear chimes, all of that. And they started to malfunction. Then I got a call one day. We want to come over and do an appraisal on the house. White man named John. You ain't coming here. He said, I want to come in. Yeah, I understand the house is recently purchased and want to come in and do an appraisal. Just get square footage of that. You can get the square footage offline. You get the square footage from, you need to go to the person that actually owned it. So that's when I started to, my spiritual sense started to kick in. Child, these people is doing something they ain't got no business doing. So now I got, okay, white people are involved. Something is going on. He's now given a name. His name is John. And he said he wants to come in and do an appraisal. That meant they think I own this house. And I went and pulled up the address to the house. It's on Zillow. And they got my car and my truck, the Land Rover and the black Lexus, in their own Zillow with a whole Zillow write-up. And I'm like, this is weird. All right. So 2018, I'm coming out. Okay. I know who this is now. I got this. I know what's going on. Okay. I can see who is doing this now. Okay. So 2000. So it's gradual. It's been building. It's 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, FBI, IC3.gov. I'm on it. Got my laptop, my little pink laptop from um HSN. I went to McDonald's and away from the house, then hook up to my network because I wanted to see if it was the same. If I was see, then I was knowing connections and didn't know what I was actually knowing. God had put a gift in me back then and didn't know how to channel it and didn't know what I was interpreting. So I went, filed the report, sat there, went online, FBIC3, wrote it, and I wrote it about Florida. Because all the heat was coming from Florida. All the zip codes, all the numbers, that's why they had me. Okay, so now this is a good example of why I say I'm railing. That means the address of where I was at 2182 Walker Solomon, that means that address or something near that address got to be in Florida. Because when I went to 242 Quiet Grove, Florida, still, see, you got to go by the area codes and the numbers of the information and the traffic that was coming in. It was all coming in from Florida. And when I went in 2016, all I had was what the federal agent said. So in 2018, I'm reporting corruption because now I got enough. I got what the agent said because they cocky. And he said, I know what you're going to do before you even do it. I'm where you're going to be before you even get there. Okay, that you done said too much, and I'm finna go tell that. Because that's enough to say that you got me surrounded and I ain't doing nothing wrong to know why am I in this circumference with you and I keep bumping elbows with you and I ain't doing nothing wrong. So he says Kiva Blackman's husband pretend to be husband, because you know they got pretend spouses, says Mr. Brown says and all his phone numbers attached, he say he know where I am, and he orchestrated the whole arrest of Ketchup in 2016 to leave me by myself because the IRS was finna send the refund check for school. I mean, for what we got for school. We only got a refund back because we went to school. Other than that, we would have owed taxes. So nothing was fraudulent or wrong with my tax return. But Ketchup was not supposed to ever be in my life for tax reasons. So every time from the time I met him to the time I till we got divorced, when it came to income tax time, they moved him out every year like clockwork. In 2014 or whatever, 13, when we was in Chickapin Road, when the direct deposit hit that account, Ketchup had done walked off. I went to go find him to tell him they had done moved him then. In 2014 or 15, when we got the next one, Ketchup done dipped out, did some of that. Every year of that, it was an argument. It was confusion. It was chaotic during tax periods because Ketchup came from the IRS into my life and then later switched over and changed to a different federal agency. So Ketchup came in because his brother put him in to do a job, to get initiated, to be a Fed. If you can handle this case, you got a job. So Ketchup comes in. All of this, that's why all the traffic comes from Florida. This is why Ketchup was originated from Florida and came into my life. So because of who I was around in 2004, the Internal Revenue Service had a little grip in there. We got a little hand in here because we got a little birdie. We done trapped everybody else. We want to get this one right here. This is the last one we got to get. This little red chick right here. And I wasn't going because I ain't did nothing wrong. Yeah, I know what they doing, but I ain't got nothing to do with that. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I might, tell you, oh, such and such do that, or she do refund checks, or she do this, that, and other. But I don't want to get involved in that. You can't make me get involved in that. So what did I knew her? That's my son's grandmother. So that ain't got nothing to do with me. But when it came down to it, when that person told me, oh, this happened and that happened, I said, oh my God, they done lost. Them white people finna get her real good. She done lost her mind. The white people don't ever give you authority over their money. Girl, you black. You will never get that authority ever in your life. I don't care what name outside your building. Those are white people's money. They will never give you permission to use their name and their money because they white. That's never going to happen. So when that whole analogy part came up with the Internal Revenue Service, I backed off from that real quick. And again, because that's federal stuff and I didn't do that. That wasn't my expertise. That wasn't what I like to do. So that wasn't my scam I wanted to run at that time, at any time. So when we got to into 2013, and we're now getting married, and we married and all this other stuff, I'm now seeing, okay, this is now looking like Internal Revenue Service. But I'm not calling them at this point. I'm just saying, I know this is federal. I'm going to the FBI because I know that all of this stuff is not right. I'm looking at the address. I'm looking at people. I'm looking at names. I'm looking at, especially at Quiet Grove. I'm putting stuff together. Now I got a whole story. But then I'm just saying, something is not right. Why did we go to this lady's house to sign this lease? Why did we go to it? I'm looking at the tax people. All the tax people take all your information. Sit here. Okay, what's this? And where did you make last year? And what do you do over here? And what do you do now? All right, you're good to go. When we get our paper signed, we'll sign back. Well, can I get a copy of what I signed? Once we get it accepted, and you ain't seen nothing they wrote. So in 2016, Ketchup went to prison. And went to jail in Florida on a staged lockup. And they locked him up for 5 days and they left me by myself in a gray Buick LaCrosse rental from Enterprise. And I drove the car back and forth. I slept, didn't eat or sleep the entire time that Ketchup was in jail. The entire time. And so after that, I went to after that whole process, um I was just I got distracted by the commercial they play, and I try not to listen to their commercials because when they get mad they play stuff, threatening commercials or threats that have something on it. So I try not to listen to their commercials. Matter of fact, let me play something that's continuous so it won't take a break for a while I still do this. So Ketchup took a staged jailbreak when in 2016. And so and that's when the feds was there. They the one that did it. Kiva Blackman's boyfriend or husband, whoever he pretended to be, he did it. And so once they locked him up, I was out there by myself, and I called Kurt Ketchup's brother, and nobody helped me. And that's because they already knew what the plan was. Nobody helped me. And so Ketchup said, nobody helped you? And I said, nobody helped you. Nobody helped me get you out. And nobody was there for me. And this, that. And he was like, my mom and them didn't call or nothing. And I was like, no. He was like, I ain't talking to nobody no more. But that was already the plan. To act, they calls, make it look like they got confusion and commotion. But so to keep everybody separated. That was the plan. So I just didn't know. So in 2018 was my first federal corruption report. And the feds came out visually that day. The first time I physically saw them in their presence was officially on the record. Not in uniform, but undercover, but that I knew that the Holy Spirit told me that's them was in 2018 outside of my house at 242 Quiet Grove Drive, and he was a white male in a burgundy Suburban, and I chased him because he didn't have no business being at my house in my yard, and I didn't know what he was doing. And so I got mad and I drove behind him, and we was I was following him in the neighborhood until I turned off. He lost me and I turned off. And so that was the first time. So like, and that was the same day that I made the IC3.gov report. And I made it then about Florida, and I included the names of Kiva Blackman and Fernando Brown. And that what they had that I believe that he was involved in some level of government, and that they were abusing their power. So then after that happened, that's when it got um that's when it got bad. That's when it got bad. 2018, it got bad. It was the worst it had ever been. So making that report, there was not it wasn't nobody somebody wasn't pleased. And I remember going back, and once I could literally, I swear to God, that day I made that report, they shut that laptop off, and it rebooted. I literally swear I heard somebody say, "Oh shit, she called FBI." I swear to God. I swear. I swear. It was almost like I heard it like they were in the room with me. And so once that happened, once that took place, once I made the report, then the next thing was it got bad. It got really bad. So I'm reporting corruption. So moving into the conversation, I was reporting corruption on how my marriage took place and the abuse that of someone using my information under color of law. Someone was using my identity as me in around me. And so that's what the ending result and the reports came out to be in present day. And so now that I think about that, I can recall that for sure, because Marie was right there at 242. And Marie is a profile from Washington. And she had an adopted son and a sickly husband. And then Marie was a white lady across the street that was from Hawaii, and her daddy had money. So they were creating these names and profiles back then. So long story short, the purpose of this is to say how it started, what happened to me, and then where we are. So as I started to make these reports, they started to sabotage my life. And my life went from driving a Land Rover, driving a Lexus, having a nice place to live, to homeless, to no family, to no support, to being estranged from kids, only see my grandkids once, can't even talk to my son at all, to they took everybody. Everybody. In 2020, the man did just like this on the case, turned the light switch off, and everybody went away. Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. 2020, January the 1st, Ketchup walked out, and he must have called everybody and said, "All right, we're done with this. Close it up." And that was it. The whole family, just like that, gone. Gone. Called them the next day, voicemail. Called the next day, out of service. Called the next day, Just ring. Called after that, no answer. Then when I talk to him again, everybody is brand new. Brand new. Girl, what y'all up there doing? Y'all ain't got no business doing. And all conversations change. Call somebody, hey girl, I ain't talked to you in a while. Girl, you back up your old ways. Everybody. So I was still making reports faithfully because stuff was still going on. And so that got me to where I am now. And so what I looked at and got from this was that's the beginning. This is how it started. This is what gave, and it's a whole lot more to that. But this is how this gave rise. This is how this evolved into me talking and why I live on live and why I have to record my screens and why I don't like the computer and to go into my phone. So what the person was basically doing was being me. Being me. Taking my aspirations, taking my goals, taking my thoughts, taking my dreams, and going out here. And I live here, and they live right next door. In Quiet Grove, they live right next door. And a lady set up, a white lady and a black lady across the street using the name Marie. That's not my name, but that's the name that the law was going to move me into as a Mexican. So this is why that whole Mexican narrative is so important, or the whole change of my heritage is so important. So they adapted a profile named Marie. The lady is living around me and doing everything that I would do. I'm going to Capella, so is she. I'm going to school, so is she. I'm in psychology, so is she. Do everything that I'm doing. And so once I found out how they were doing this, once I prayed and asked God, I need some wisdom on how to deal with this. God gave me GL22, a phone that protects you, that gives immediately once you go into IC3, whether you go into IC3 or go into the actual branch location to report an IC3 complaint, that extension needs to be at the police department. Once you go in there and put the IMEI number for your phone, it automatically splits that device. So that going forward, anything that you do pertinent is going to split and be from this IMEI number, so that if the person is using your identity and using your phone, all the data that's going to come from this IP address, we know that's not you. So what happened is, in this whole process of me going on, nobody was understanding the technicalities of cybersecurity and cybercrime because they weren't aware of just how much you can clone an individual electronically and go out and pursue business matters in their likeness and be undetected. It's even better than a credit card, because what you have is a device that has no identification on it. This cell phone has no name on it. There's no ID to that. This is why in GL22 that's one of the changes, and one on one of the levels of authentication, changing the way that your phone is now identified with a name and an ID that goes to that IMEI number, so that you can't go to ATMs and this if you're not authorized at that bank with that IMEI number and that name. That would stop them from now while I'm on live. They up there at Chase Bank. Boop boop. No, you won't be booping, bitch. You won't. Your booping days are over. You got booped in the back of your head for going up there to that ATM machine. Your booping days are over, because they go up there and boop boop and just put the phone up there and tap and pay, and then or go to Walmart and boop, boop, and pay, and then I paid with a card that got my name on it, but it's not mine. That is linked in the last four of the same number. And so when they call in from the same last four of your debit card, they have now gained access to that wire. You're at the ATM and don't even know you at the ATM. I'm at home. No, they just called. Your last four is 2829. That's why they live off the last four of your number. 2829 is down there in Florida in a Honda that just went to the ATM, and they gonna come pick you up later in that same Honda that was just at that ATM machine in Florida. And they had Florida call the number to gain live wire access to communicate that traffic at that IP address. See, that's the whole reason that they're doing it. So that when they call from 813-360-2829, they can make any number they want. So they're going to make 813-360-2829. All right. Kiva, go to the ATM machine and get whatever y'all want to get. You want $500? You can get it. Go get $500 out the ATM. 813, use this number right here and call her. Win the money when you about to access the ATM machine. Call. Once they call, that person that's on the phone, maybe Gwanda. Wanda and Kiva on the phone. They know I'm not going to talk to Kiva. Kiva not going to call me. So Wanda has to be on the phone to keep the conversation going so Kiva can go to the bank. So Wanda's on the phone. Kiva's on the phone. Wanda, you could go to the bank too. All right. So all of them that's on the phone and not even knowing who else done flagged into the extension can go to the ATM machine because 2829 is on the line. So whoever has this account number or debit card number can go to the ATM. Or you could go shopping, whichever one you want to do. Anybody can go. You got to have this, though, or got to link into that because this is the one being in use. So once you go and you tap in, or you can go and they'll change it later. You can't do that. Let me clarify. What you can do is take that number. I wish I had me a board so I could teach this. You can take that number that's going to be on that live wire. That person already has your SIM card that they have ordered from WhatsApp, text free, or any of these botched up 99-cent places that you can get a SIM card. They're going to put your IMEI number on that. They're gone to the ATM machine. When they tap that ATM machine with that phone, boop, boop, and get that money out, your IP address is going to be swapped using artificial intelligence. Now, all they have to do is add circumstantial evidence around it to make that transaction true. And that's what they were doing to me all day long. So understanding that, praying about that, talking to God about that, God said, this is how you fix that. Now, what the problem came in at was what God gave me drew over the law. Because the law looked at it and said, oh, she trying to stop us. No, I'm trying to stop cybercrime. The law don't have no business doing this. So that's why God drew over them. Because you ain't have no business doing it anyway. So God knew that and said, oh, well, you ain't supposed to be setting people up with cybercrime anyway. So I'm just going to wipe the ability to do that away. And that's what they don't like. So that's why no one says, oh, we like your idea. They like it. White people love it. But they don't like that. Wait, then I won't be able to do this. Not really. Not without getting caught. You could still do it because you're the law. But you're going to get caught. Because of the way the levels of authentication is set up. You're going to get caught. See, you should never be able to take a phone and change the IP address and put it nowhere. Nowhere where it's not. And so what happens is when you infiltrate someone's network or their system, it's because a firewall or a listening detection is not implemented, so that shouldn't happen. If you take, this is a phone. and I'm talking to her. So let's say this is a phone and this is a phone, and this phone is talking to this phone. This phone ain't got no business being able to join in this network connection right here without this phone or this phone getting the indication. And that's where you got cybercrime. This is a connection right here. And when you can penetrate without notification, that's why you got a problem. That's why you got a problem. They only got two-factor authentication. 1, 2, which is securing your connection from A to B. But they don't have nothing that's keeping you from going from C to D, E to F, G to H, H to I. They don't have none of that. And this is how you could get into a line by infiltration because you don't have nothing here securing the perimeter. This is why your Wi-Fi only is connected like this. It needs to go all the way around. And it's going to be 6-factor authentication. And God gave me that idea. Now, because to stop what they did. Because if we stop what they did, when Gwanda called with Kiva on the phone, with this three-way call that they got going on, you now got 2 people on my phone, on 2 devices, and each one of them shopping in their perspective states. Gwanda in Augusta, Kiva in Florida, or Gwanda in North Carolina, or may have taken a trip, because Gwanda takes trips for them. So Gwanda could have been on a cruise. So they on, this is a network. Now, you got Gwanda's network, you got Kiva's network, and you got my network. They are all lined in. Where the problem comes in that I ain't getting no indication that these pings from other networks are targeting your IP address. See, my phone's supposed to be listening for that. And my phone is supposed to be listening to see if somebody connecting to your IP while you got this live wire. It ain't doing that. It's not saying if your card number is being accessed and this is sending a signal to this bank over here in this country or this state. My phone ain't doing that. See, GL22 does that. It's listening in the background for all of your information if it's being signaled to go out without your permission. See, it'll stop this right here with Gwanda, because you can call her all day long. You ain't going to target that IMEI number without her getting a notification that your IMEI number is being in use at Walmart on a Google Pay transaction. See, they don't have that. Google ain't got that. They fired all the people. They say they need to fire the whole staff because they don't have that. Google ain't got that. Google is the problem. Google Traps is the problem because Google is not listening to what it should be. Anything that attaches itself to your email has to have a certain level of encryption and authentication, and they don't have that. All they got is securing you from here to here, meaning you can connect from Wanda or you can connect from your phone to your email, and we've secured that. But beyond that, you're screwed because you don't have nothing else. Nothing else is listening to the email. Nothing else is listening to your phone. It's just securing you to log into your email. That's all you got. But once you get into the email, what's keeping the email? What's stopping my phone or them from having a WhatsApp phone in Florida connected to my email and I don't know? Because I could show you right now, if I was to turn this screen around on this phone, that they got my phone right now over there across seas. They done took my phone out the country. They got a passport with my phone, and Google ain't let me know shit. Now, I talked to the white people about this in California, and they told me they dinged me all night at that Shell gas station. We can run the cameras back, and you'll see. Them white people told me you own to it, and you're going to get some money for that, because you are absolutely right. They don't have, Google didn't tell me now time that these people done took my phone out the country. And I went and took my ID and I got a passport and I let some Mexican girl do whatever she want to do, being me, And Google ain't say now time. Your email is out the country and your email is in Riverdale. Ding, 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 ding. That don't take a rocket scientist to know she can't be in two places at one time. So somebody is being hurt. Google is retarded and didn't notify me at all. At all. So God made the phone grace's law to overcome the law, to draw over what they did with grace. Because you're the law, I can't penalize you. You're the law. But you got to pay for what you did, and you got to reestablish a set of laws so that this doesn't happen again. Because apparently the law didn't get the memo that you can't set people up. So they didn't get that memo. That memo didn't register. You can't put black people in prison. They didn't understand that either. You can't trap people on. They didn't understand that. So we need to redefine the laws so that they have a clear understanding and boundary of what you cannot do. Because apparently they don't know that you can't order SIM cards and put them in your device and go live next door to me. Apparently they don't know that. They don't know. They don't know. They don't know. They have seen so much crime, according to psychological research. They have seen so much crime. They have been absolved. They don't know. They have forgot. They have been desensitized. They don't know. They are thinking like criminals and not forgot that they got badges. We got badges. We're federal people. They have forgot. They are out here behaving like straight up criminals, goons. Because you done went and ordered a SIM card on this lady's thing and then gave it to somebody else with a bank card to go, well, I know you didn't give nobody that lady's SIM card to go out of town. I know Cricket did not on June the 1st when I can turn this thing around in this phone and show you that Cricket activated my phone on June and then activated again in July on a whole nother SIM card. And I got proof of that. I know you didn't do that. I know you ain't do that. I activated my phone twice on two different networks and two different SIM cards, and you gave that SIM card to that hard copy SIM card, the one that's going to court. You gave that to somebody else to put in their phone to walk alongside me wherever I go on this Wi-Fi map. That's what you did. Because they don't have to be here. That's what I'm trying to say. Because this connection right here with the phone and all Gwanda have to do is say, call me on three-way. I don't know who Gwanda got on the phone. Gwanda is just the get the live connection. Once you got the live connection, anybody else can chime in. Because the wire, the energy is established. Energy is not lost or and it doesn't die. It doesn't end. It just transfers. Anybody can log in, and we can blend this energy. It's endless. I can get 90 people on this phone to shop if I want to, just going through Gwanda, because that's a live connection. It's energy, and that's how energy moves. It doesn't die. It just transfers from one source to the next. So who else wants some? You want to go to the drain? Come on, call in. Anybody could be on this phone. Wanda can bring 59,000 people with her just because you called in to give this live wire, or you initiated access, or you hacked in to the wire, to the network. And that's what is going on. That's how hackers are able to move around. And that's why it should not be like that. That's why your Wi-Fi signal is broken. They know it's broken. If you look at it, it's a little rainbow sign, which means if that stands for Wi-Fi, then what is securing everything under it? If you really look and just dissect the logo for Wi-Fi, if that is what you say it is, and that's your logo for Wi-Fi, if that's the universal signal that we see for Wi-Fi, then where's the rest of it? Where's the rest of it? And then you will see that's why people can get in. That's why you can get hacked, because it's not secure. It needs to go all the way around, and it needs to have all of this, how every possible way that you can connect, from the email to the phone to the IMEI number to the SIM card to the name. All of this must be, not even the whole 6-factor. That's just one of your factors. By the time you get done with this phone, it'll be a vault. Won't nobody be able to get into it but the law, which is the way that it should be. And even when the law gets in, they won't be able to get in like they do now. Like they do now, any federal agent or police they have generic Facebook codes that they could get into any Facebook account. That should not be. Because once you get into that account on your device, all you do is hook the camera up to the email, and now I'm live streaming in my house, so are they. It's not really hard. This is not rocket science. If you understand that the internet and Wi-Fi, they complement each other. This is why they call it coding, or I want to put this in layman's terms. Internet and Wi-Fi is electronic writing on a piece of paper. That's all it is. And if you look at it like that, then you can understand the world of the internet. And so I'm thinking, the way that I perceived it is, no one should be able to write on the internet without the government's permission and without them knowing what you're writing. And if we understand that philosophy, then we understand cybercrime, cybersecurity, and we even understand anti-terrorism. Because then we're saying, you're right. If nobody can't come in our country without our permission, you ain't finna come on the internet either. Hello? Duh. You're really not finna come on the internet. So looking at that whole philosophy and the way that worked, so you definitely not finna go shop out the country. If I didn't let you shop in the country, you mean to let me tell you they let you go establish a passport in my name and go shop? Definitely not. Definitely not. We're not doing that, because the network is going to catch it. Your phone and your ID is way over here. One of them took your ID to the Bahamas. Or one of them took your ID way over here. They took one to Africa because they say you African. You sell products over there. So they used Gwanda to go over there. Gwanda took your phone all the way over there. Your Gmail in Africa. That's Google fault. That's Google fault. And I got no indication. I'm just laying up here looking at TV, and they over there in Africa. That's why your phone quiet, because they got your IMEI on Do Not Disturb, because Gwanda in Africa. They don't want you to get all the alerts. But that's Google's fault. And it's their fault, because your IMEI number moving forward in that should never, ever, ever be public. It is the social security number to your device. Just like your social security number goes to your credit, the IMEI number of your device should never, ever, ever be public. When it goes in the system, it should come out one other way. So when they go to activate your device, it's never going to activate with a person standing there putting in a 16-digit number, because you don't know what 16-digit number that agent has told them to put on that phone. God made me smart. Very smart. And white people know it. Because it's right. It don't matter if they like it or not. It's right. And it's true. You standing there at a cell phone place. Let me paint these demons to you. I went in the cricket, and they got that young boy and that girl. They're standing there. Not only are they activating this device on a debit card that is not mine, they are activating this phone on a network that is not even there. That's not even true. And they're using the IMEI number to establish service, while they have a visual of that wonderful camera right there with that 60 lens that's getting that clear shot of you. So when you go stand up in that courtroom and say, I didn't activate that phone, they're going to say, oh my God, I'm not going to do this with you today. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this with you today. Because you just sat down. Ma'am, that camera says you're right. Is that not you? That is me. You not in cricket on June the 3rd and getting that phone. You, you hate to say yeah, because the minute you say yeah, turn around and put your hands behind your back, because that phone that you activated was not the phone that you thought. Not to mention that phone that they gave you has a whole nother system in it that is integrated that can communicate with an iPhone device and an Android. Have a good day, child. They just made me the best billionaire you ever want to see, because I'm gonna take that technology and make it where you can pick the device you want. Have a good day. You can choose the system, how you want your system to work, because that's what they did to me. So I took what they did to me and made it work for people. That's the brilliance of what God did. And then took that they can communicate with me anywhere. Well, if you could transfer energy anywhere using what they did, because I watched them give me battery power, take battery power. Okay, well then, in that case, then we do Bluetooth charging. In that case, we have a lot to invent. Now, let's take that scenario right there. Let's stop right there with GL22 and let's move over into purpose, because I'm feeling very green and inspired. And let me shift this into the bait and tackle and combine all of this together. The bait and tackle is an operation that I came up with of how slaves are still targeted in the United States. I took what happened to me and the fact that no one would answer me, that no one would respond, that no one thought I was important, that no one saw the value in my life, that no one said, according to this United States Constitution that we rely on in our social contract, no one kept their word. They didn't make sure that my civil rights and liberties were still afforded to me under this social contract. So the bait and tackle is a series of laws that complement Grace's law, that is not just for the phone, but it says things you cannot do based on what happened to this girl. Because apparently somebody done got misconstrued and they done forgot. They know it's wrong, but let's just paint the picture a little more clearer. You cannot be a doctor. You cannot prescribe medicine. You cannot have a case no more than 6 months and it got to transfer. You cannot follow a person out of town. It got to transfer. Like stuff like this. So once I looked at what happened to me, it was easy for me to say, this is slavery. Because they took my thoughts and ideas. That's what the master did. Look at all the things that a slave master did. He made the person work on the plantation and he got all of the proceeds. They were there to strictly serve as his property for his own means and his own purpose, period. The only way out was death. Or if they were purchased by someone else. But they were property of his to be in any way that he wanted. Sexually, financially, physically, whatever he wanted. So every aspect of this is slavery. He said, I sell my toes online. He said, I sell my body. People benefited from that. I was raped in my sleep. He benefited from that. My aspirations and goals, he benefited from that. Everything that I wanted to do, he benefited from that. Medically, when he tried to make me sick, he benefited from that. So everything that he wanted, he just sat there and ordered it. And it was done using the abuse of his power based on who he was. Had nothing in it. The Constitution couldn't help me. The president couldn't help me. Like, he used his authority and position to sabotage every aspect of my life. So taking this concept, coming out of myself, let me look at this in the eyes of the law. What does this mean for all black people? Well, looking at it, look at the prison. They don't have no education in the prison anymore, because that's where you go to get in a cage. Medical, we don't even get tested for the things we think we get tested for. You don't even know if the person that you go to the hospital with to see in this network is really a doctor. You don't even know. You leave and that person see you for 3 minutes and you never see them again. And they wrote you a prescription and you don't even know if you're taking it because it's good or if they're killing you off because you're black. I have to raise the awareness to it because it's a possibility. It's true. It happened to me. I went to a series of doctors, every one in every state I've been in the last 6 years of my life, and they were all not doctors, writing stuff that they know was not in tune with my health, writing stuff that they knew somebody else paid them to write. They knew it. They just put on a white lab coat and come in the room. How many doctors have I seen with white lab coats on with no name on it in Kentucky all the time? So to be able to do that to somebody because they black, I don't even know how to process that. I just gave myself a straight headache with that. Just even thinking about that, how scary that is, that you laying up in there, you telling somebody you don't feel good and they finna make you feel worse. They trying to kill you. Take this and go home. And you actually finna pay to go get something that is going to harm you. And you trusted that person with no name, no nothing. You trust the brand of the hospital that they gonna have integrity. Them people ain't got no goddamn integrity because them people have a network set up for these specific group of people. And when you understand the bait and the tackle, the bait is how we lure you in. The ghetto, the housing, the food, the market, the schools, the system. This is the bait catching you. Riverdale, he's fishing. Okay? Got to constantly look at the white man. He's sitting on the dock. How am I going to keep my community running? Who is paying me? Niggers. Same way he made all his money from the slaves back then. That's exactly what he's still doing today, just in a whole different way. He's fishing. White people love to fish. He's fishing. Got his rear, he done threw it out. What can I get in this ghetto? Poverty, mental health, prison, abuse, trauma, death, illness. He's fishing. And the bait is when you gonna bite it. You gonna get one of those things that he got going on out there. Even if it's the simplest one, the minimum, which is gonna be a single family home. He still got you on the end of the hook. And once you get on the end of the hook, He's going to start systemically reeling you in. Some matter of time. He's fishing. He's very patient. He likes the serene life of the lake. He's fishing. It's quiet. He's studying his prey. The nigger. What is he doing? Listening to music, not paying attention, eating all them fried wings, looking at TV all day, ain't going to school, getting comfortable with all this little systemic pay that I'm giving him. They comfortable with the disability. You like it that I said you bipolar. Okay, good. Give her 1,200. Is that enough to pay her rent? Nope. Is that enough to pay a light bill? Nope. And then tell her she can't work at all when she get that 1,200. Cause then what? Guess now what he gonna do? I'm gonna hook you somewhere else. You got the 1,200. You got my check. You can't work. I already took your husband out the house. Now I'm finna play with your kids. Now once I got you 1,200, you can't work. Now I'm finna get you this. I'm yeah, all y'all dressing just alike. Make them look like hoes. Put the weave all the way down to their feet. They getting their weave longer and longer and longer, and he's loving it. Make them look like hoes, prostitutes. Get their nails long as the highway. Going out there, it's a plan. It's the bait and it's the tackle. Once you get caught and he reels you in and you're on the hook, you're caught. It's a tackle. And that's how we stay systemically in a pool for the white man to fish. And it's not a white man referring to a race. That's the riddle of bait and tackle. Anybody can be the white man. In the movie Django, Steven was the white man. He was the one that went and told on Django. Leonardo DiCaprio hadn't caught the plane yet. Steven was the white man. He went and told him. He was the one hollering at the end of the movie, Django, this Candyland. You can't stand from Candyland. He was the one. It wasn't the white people hollering. Them white people died and took their fate and got shot. They never once was talking about no Candyland. It was Stephen. It was in his heart. The black man that was still hollering Candyland when it came over. Now, if that don't tell you something, I don't know what else will. It tells you that racism and slavery was in the heart of the black man because he suffered the most trauma. Which is why today the blacks hunt the blacks more than the white man. These black police in Riverdale be bothering me way more than the white one over there in Roswell. You want to know why? Because it's in their heart, in their culture already. They know and have a fear that if I don't get her, then the white man gonna get me. That's why it's like this. So if you understand the bait of how we're sucked in to this mentality, it comes from TV. It comes from social media. Do you ever, or if you black, ever, I dare you to find a white friend and look at their social media. It don't look nothing like yours. We're loaded with a lot of rap, a lot of nudity, a lot of profanity, a lot of violence. White people open their Facebook pages. Oh, Billy's off in Ireland today. Those are beautiful pictures. They are fishing. Oh, she had potluck with her grandma. Open hours, violence, death, police brutality, beatings. So that when you look at yours, it's to keep your mind systemically engulfed. That's why they keep showing you black people get shot by white police. It's not because black people don't shoot white men. It's because they want you to constantly see in your mind this image of slavery. Don't you ever go out of this pool. We'll blow your goddamn head off. They want you to keep seeing that so you could keep feeling that so that when I went over in South Carolina, what did I say I felt? I felt bound. I felt like I couldn't. Nobody said it necessarily, but I was scared. I had anxiety. I felt fear. Every time I saw the white man, I felt like I had to answer him. That's because that's the aura that slavery has put into the air. And if we don't know where we're still bound, how can we still fight? You got to know. Somebody got to tell you, and you have to have the ability to embrace where change needs to take place. I get caught up in it too. I like weave. I like long hair. I like long hair. I like a little ratchetness too. But you got to understand, is it our culture? Is it us? Or is it the bait? Is it the bait? No other culture ain't got their hair under their feet. No other culture ain't got their nails across the road. No other culture ain't got their lashes all the way out here. But they want us to look like clowns. Look at the white man on my photo. He has on the bonnet. Let's take him from top to bottom. He has on the bonnet. I told y'all that bonnet is slavery. I don't know why they wear it. I hate it. I hate when black women put that bonnet on their head. You don't know what the white man thinks about it. If you knew why the white man did it, what it meant, you wouldn't wear it. Tie a scarf on your head, but don't wear that bonnet. And they done start bedazzling it. I'm going to be a pretty slave. Then it ain't no different than when I call myself one. Don't tell me not to say it and you wearing it. Because that's what it means. That's why the white man put it on and he put a polka dot. The colors that he used are symbolic to slavery. And he stood naked on the street. Prostitution. So if you look at what is in our culture, then you can see what do we need to do to bring forth a change. And the time is 4:53. I'm on purpose. 4:53 is 12. So if we move forward into purpose, what's the main thing that we are going to start? If they were to, and no, if they were, when God brings me out of this situation, delivers me in freedom that has manifested, and I have the financial dividends to cover the abuse that I suffered all this time, the very first thing I'm going to do is address prison reform and the homeless population, because the homeless population is a direct result of systemic abuse. Why do you really think that no county has a homeless program nowhere? I want somebody that think they so smart to give me the answer to that, because I'm finna tell you what the answer is. Ain't no county you go to, nowhere, gonna tell you that they got a homeless program. Why? Wanna know why? Because those are not real homeless people. Those are slaves. Real ones. Walking around you that you think they just on drugs. Why? They made me one. I was one. And I just wasn't finna get on no drugs. They put you out there when you go and do the wrong thing against this law. That's where you going. To the goddamn curb. Teach your ass a lesson. And when you be out there for a while, if we think you have learned your lesson, you can come back and live life. That's what those are what those people are. People that are learning a governmental lesson. Those are not people that you really just think, oh, that's such and such. Well, he ain't got to be out there if he want. That's why everybody say that. They ain't got to be out there if they want to. They out there because they want to. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Those people are out there because they did something that the government did not like. And you going out there to sit on the curb and time out. It's what they do it for people that are They mind too strong that if we put them in jail, it ain't gonna matter. So that's where you go. And when you learn your lesson, you can come back. They told me 5 years in Walmart parking lot in 2021. Told me you'll be out here for 5 years and we'll let you come back. You're going to affect your finances and your life for 5 years and then you can come back. They're retarded. Got no sense. They don't got nothing about no constitution. So taking that, understanding that, I derailed a minute. Taking that, because that was just too much. Taking that, understanding that, where do we need to work? We need to have resources in the county. I want to start with prison reform. I want to redo the whole prison store. I want to put in new mats and beds that are at least a certain thickness, that are memory foam, that are indestructible. I want to use like a OtterBox material. I want to make them cool temperature. I want the whole construction of what is being made in that prison, and then materials that are going to go outside of the material. Because I want to use that same bed, that avocado bed. I want to use that same bed for the world. And so that's why I want to take those people that are in prison and build those factories there so that you got jobs that you got in prison and out. When you in prison, you work on this side. When you out of prison, you work on this side. But all the time that you in prison, I'm going to stop that. You in there just fucking all day long. We're not doing any of that junk anymore. Passing around AIDS and everybody. No, ain't nobody in prison during the day. They ain't people at work. Only people in the prison is people that is handicapped. That's going to cut down on all the people, guards coming in bringing phones. We don't need your ass here either. Because artificial intelligence is going to stop your interaction with the inmates unless it's something violent going on. And that too is going to come to a minimum. So understanding that we have a system, but nothing is too hard for God. So what God wanted me to do was, number one, refigure the entire prison, the whole thing, starting from the county jail, because the fisherman fishes in the county first. See, the county is where he gets the majority. That's why it's more state prisons than federal prisons, because the fisherman has more in the pool in the county, because this is where the ghetto is, your small petty crimes. So we want to reconstruct everything from the community to the county to the prison to the federal prison. These are the levels that we want to address. Now, we want to first start in the county. I've already said that. We need a new educational curriculum that's going to start in grammar school and go through college. What we're doing is taking these kids that are likely to offend based on a core assessment, CORE, care, operation, restoration, and involvement. We're giving them a core assessment. We're identifying traumatic experiences that have occurred in their life by the time they reach their first stage of moral and social development, which is going to be approximately at the age of 5 to 7 years old. We want to identify the potential criminal in them at this age. What we want to do once we identify the potential criminal in them, we want to move that person, according to psychological research, to an environment of better by surrounding them with information, technology, and resources so that it helps to warp their brain in a way of that can help them be more sustainable it will help them learn and help them make better choices. That's what we want to do. It can change their brain and the function at that age. They have still time to form and to be great. It's not necessarily it will reduce prison sentences. It will reduce the likelihood and the statistics of those that will go, especially in those single family homes. So what we want to do from there is give them the education, resources, and life choices that they need to make better decisions to carry them through grammar school, through high school, through college. Okay? So that now we have solid individuals making choices and decisions in our economy. You will feel better about that and safer at night knowing that we had tequila that went through core and tequila that did not. See, tequila is a single family product. Her dad has life in prison. He sold drugs. Her mom's on drugs. Her grandma is a Christian. She don't have a car and works at Bojangles. See, we could take tequila and make tequila into whoever we want, a marketing exec. We can take tequila and give her that finance wealth management to build her into a solid factor in the community. Now, what we can do is it's not going to catch everyone. You will still have one out of maybe 5 that may fall into some type of systemic trouble. What we want to do with them is as they go into the county, we're going to still reinforce core. This is still giving them education. This is still allowing them responsibility. This is not allowing them to have dead time that is unaccounted for. We want to use all of this time to make them productive in the community and for themselves. So while you're in the county jail, you ain't sitting up in here ordering bonbons all day, talking on the cell phone all day, stealing all day, having sex all day, talking about getting new crime. We're not doing any of that. They got stuff to do. So you're taking that and you're making them work. You're moving them into the men and the women that not only God has called them to be according to the Bible, because the Bible says you don't work, you don't eat. So if you're not putting forth a product, if you ain't putting forth nothing in the world, ain't nothing gonna come back. So we have to take the systemic cases that we have, the problems in our community, the mental health, the violent, the police, the prison reform, the uneducated, we have to take them and make them give back to the planet based on the laws of reciprocity so that we can turn the world green. Meaning, in layman's terms, if you get assistance, if you ain't working, if you get food stamps, we making you recycle. We making you go give. We making you pick up litter. We making you give back to the planet. We making you cut down this because you get our money. This is keeping you from, oh, I stay home, I live green, I got my nails done, my weed done, and it's cake, whoop, whoop. No, you don't be doing none of that, Keisha, boo-boo. Because guess why? You stay in that government house and paying $4 a month for rent. And we not going to worry. We know that you're having sex all day long. We know, we have seen it. We're not dumb. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you some education. And you're going to take these educational courses, boo, 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 or you won't be getting that $1,500 a month. No, you won't, boo, boo. And you finna go recycle. You finna go give back. You finna have to turn in your weight every month at that thing. You finna go get his back. You finna have sustainable mugs. We finna train your mind because we have possession of it because you get our money. Basically, what we're doing is linking resources with accountability for environmental sustainability. That's what we're doing based on the laws of reciprocity. As you give, it comes back. That is what's going on. So understanding this, understanding what this means, where this is going, once you understand how to address, how to revamp the community, you can understand how we can afford to promote a better planet and have more resources available to help us where we need them most. So once we start working in the county, now we're working in the prison. So we're having a better product for sale. We're having more resources in the prison that is paid for from the store call, that is paid for from taxation, and that is paid for. Hold on a second. They keep cutting off my phone. Hold on. So once you have um once you're in the prison, you have more you have more that contributes to the prison when you have research, when you have um a better product, and when you have um um research, a better product, and what was it, Lord? Research, a better product, and taxation. Okay. So what you're doing is you're taking and you're creating a vision. You're taking what you have right now. A bunch of men all day, sweaty and dark and funky, in there having sex, getting their balls sucked, eating pom-poms, coming out unhealthy, unmotivated. Hey man, I ain't gonna, it's a white man's world. Coming out here, we not finna do any of that. Finna take them and finna put them over here in a cool camp, same security outside. We're gonna take them and you have a full core schedule. You don't have time anymore to sit on the building and eat bonbons and all this and talk on the phone and call your girlfriend and run up her bill. You ain't got time. You got to do your core hours, your chart. You got to paint in the jail. You got to clean the cells. It's no such reason that you could ever see a jail and it looked like they put on TV with Fulton County. That's retarded. When you got a bunch of slaves in one building and ain't nobody working, that's retarded. Of course you got a painter. They right there. Of course you got a sweeper. They right there. Of course you got somebody to do your horticulture. They right there. So all of that is your free labor. I'm not gonna pay nobody to come in here when you sitting your tail right here and I did wrong and you under my watch. You finna get your ass up and work today. And by the time you finish working and painting outside for 8 hours, you won't have time to be in here having sex and contracting AIDS and passing it all around and think you finna go back out here and keep passing to the community. We busy. You busy. I'm changing your whole mindset. And then when you get done with that, you got hours to do. And guess what? Ain't no time. What's going to be the incentive to get them to move it? That time ain't going to move till you get it done, bro. So when you go in here in your room and you look at your tablet and it say you got 491 days left, it's going to still say 491 days left until you complete your chore. And then your time credit for that day going to come off. Until then, it's going to say 491 days, bro. So you can stay here as long as you want to. And if it don't move within a certain time, guess where you're going to be going? To lockdown. We're going to go ahead and separate your mindset from the rest of the population that came here to do what they got to do. See, we're going to separate. There's no such thing as once they here, we can't control it. We can't stop the cell phones. We can't stop the violence. You can't stop it because you don't want to. Because the white man is still fishing even in there. If I can kill half of these niggas off that ain't even productive, good. That's why they classify them like that together. It's a scam. Half of them in there he don't want alive. Because he know you ain't gonna work for me. You ain't gonna give me no money. And your ass probably got diseases and everything else. So put all of them in C4. If them kill each other off, don't watch them. And make them all mad. That's good riddance to them. My good slaves is going to be over here in C3, C2 max. So this is where, once you understand the philosophy, where it's going, what's going on, and what's happening in the environment, then you understand where that needs to be changed. I ain't just came up with all these ideas because I'm crazy. If you really want to know where racism is, you have to think like a racist. You have to think and see in the eyes of a racist. If a racist is in control, what is he going to do? He's going to stop you from making money, stop you from working, split up your houses, make you not privy to. He's going to do everything the master did in slavery. We couldn't get medical care. We couldn't get education. We couldn't vote. We couldn't go to school. We couldn't work. He's still doing that. Who do you think minimum wage is for? Minimum wage stands for men and women in Negro institutions making you money. That's what it means, minimum. He's giving you the bare minimum, knowing that it ain't enough. 725 times 40 on average is about 208, between less than $300. Times 4 is 1,200. What are you going to do with that a month with 2.5 kids? Nothing. Let me turn my recorder on. He is doing the most on this phone over here. So what let me see. Hold on a second. So what that means in regards to this is, if you take the what's going on in prisons and you address prison reform, this means that you're building the prisons up, giving them education and the resources so that even their families are excited. They're wanting to now pay money and send money in, because we want you to get what's on the store call. We want you to eat healthy. We want you to have this. We want you to have different resources that you can have. We want you to have this. We can even redo the whole cafeteria so that artificial intelligence is doing that. The cafeteria is using artificial intelligence not only to build product and to feed the inmates, but is using it to make them healthy, to keep a calorie count, to avoid waste. So we're using these ideas and we're promoting these. Let me put my phone on this screen, child, because these people is messing up my phone so bad over here, and it's annoying. And I shouldn't let it annoy me, because that's just the devil. Whenever I be doing something good, he annoys me. And the TV and the phone is the same, because they operate the TV on the IMEI number as the same as the phone and the email. So when you say you're not using the phone, they find a way to put your face on their device. That's all it's about. Because this phone and this TV go out at the same time. And if somebody was to Uber Eats or leave from here, one of these two gonna get a pause indication every time, every single time, or somewhere around here, because they separated. They in one of these houses up to the right every time. So what's happened? Um, oh, they don't. They don't put. I'm talk about that later. Okay, so now what's on the same thing, um that is where we are. That is where things need to go. The trajectory of our planet, where it needs to go. It needs to go into the starting in adolescence and working through the penal system to bring forth a better, to foster a community that is strong, building a stronger community for a better economy. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. And when I get my money from this situation and what happened to me, that is what I'm going to do. Build the future for a stronger economy. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into prison reform, and I want to build factories for the prisoners to work. And work in there Work 12 hours, 8 to 12 hours. You can do 12 if you want. 8 to 12 hours. 8 is your minimum. And you got to work. And that's it. And then get your educational credits. The more you do, the more comes off. And then when you get home, the probation is not tracked like that man, Steven, at Checkers yesterday. It's tracked the same way it was tracked with you inside. What you're doing on the outside. Probation is keeping contact with you. The more resources you do, the more incentives you get to keep you from avoiding recidivism. And as you work, it's giving you different credits because basically it's taking the average person. They be set up that's saying, yeah, the average 2 out of 3 come back. Y'all shut up. You want them to come back. You set up the system for them to come back. You let them boys out of prison with intentions to put them back in prison. You want them to come back because you don't want them out here anyway. We stand there acting like it's a disjustice that the people going back to prison knowing good and well they system set up for them to come back. You don't have no resources for them. They can't get jobs. Ain't no black man in Atlanta finna work for no $7.25 an hour when God done put the natural ability and desire in him to dominate the earth. God did that. So he's not going to work for something that he can't go home and feel proud of because God made it in him to want to dominate and rule the earth. So he ain't gonna go out here and work for no $7.25 an hour. And every time it's plenty of jobs out here. That is nobody needs to work for that. God said that minimum wage needs to be raised to fit the amount, the housing median. If the average apartment for a family of 3 is $1,500 a month, then the minimum wage needs to be equated to $1,700 a month. They still they're acting like they don't know how to put stuff together. Be a commissioner, but they don't know how to make this work. They don't know how to make it work because they don't want to. This is the dirty South. Slavery still exists. They don't want to. They want you to make $7.25 an hour being black because white people don't make that. Do your research. So minimum wage is for black people. Figure it out. Stop acting naive. Because this is not that. It's not rocket science. White people don't make that. So if they don't make that, who does minimum wage apply to? Niggers. Great. Now that we know that, the rest falls into place. That's what it is. So understanding that minimum wage is that, understanding where we are in the community, then you know what needs to change and how we need to move forward and work together and what our fight is still about. Our fight is definitely still about medical care. Under Grace's law, I'm hoping that they move and make Grace's law where every doctor that has access to your chart, every time he accesses it, that you get a notice. That if you're any hospital that is connected or has a sister location, they do not have access to your file. You have to fill out and complete a chart for that hospital because they blended my hospitals just like they do debit cards. People is retarded. They say, "Oh, she at Doctor's Hospital in Atlanta. I mean, in Augusta. Make us a Doctor's Hospital in Florida. Make them sisters." That's what they did, and think they right. They not right. If I didn't go there, you ain't got no access to my file and my chart. Your system is denied. They need that. Integrated systems for every hospital. You cannot access a patient's chart in a hospital where they are not without their permission. That's HIPAA anyway, but they get away with it because they white. Next, they ain't got no business. If you every doctor that enter your room, before that doctor enter your room, you gotta write to his bio, where he came from, where he is, what his expertise, what his religion is, because these doctors come in there, I done had them before. They come in there and say they Muslims, Buddhists, and all this stuff, and they don't believe in certain stuff. So they be giving you their treatment based on what they believe. You keep your belief to yourself. If you came here to write this trazodone, and you get out my face. But they come in there and write what they want because they done took the whole context of the medical care in their back pocket. No, you don't own my health, sir. Hello? Retarded. Retarded. And think they ain't did nothing wrong. You finna get yourself out of here. Somebody, them doggone cats ain't here. Get out of here. Bringing them doggone fleas in here. So that's what it is. That's why we don't need that type of we don't need that going on in the hospital. When you go into a hospital room, let's say you went the north side, you went to the hospital room, on the TV while your doctor finna get ready to come in, you're gonna get a little screen pop up and say, this is your Dr. Bio, Dr. Kenneth, such and such. He graduated from Stanford. He here, this is his name, all this, so you can write that down. Them doctors coming out to my undiagnosed. I had them coming out one time to my they done came up with a whole new name. I'm an associate for physician nurse. Sir, what is making up stuff? Putting on lab jackets, getting straight out they beamers and coming in that hospital to my, yes, I'm here to see Crystal catch up. Knowing good well you're not no doctor. Coming in there writing stuff they know they're not supposed to be writing. And doing stuff they know they're not supposed to be doing. Because you a nigger and ain't got no rights. And one's supposed to find out. That part. So, now that you have a little bit of awareness of the bait and tackle, that's what it is. A bait, how you get in something to the bait, and the tackle, taking you down. I don't think that a doctor should come in any hospital and you don't have any background of who they are, and don't have, and then AI don't give you a possible resolution based on who you are. So if AI says, well, you go to the doctor and you went because this hurt and you're a Christian, AI would give you some Christian beliefs and thoughts according to your faith to help your mind, mental health. And then it will say other Christians have done this and took this and have had this type of outcome. This is all data that is very easily compiled and put together. So I don't think that a doctor should be able to come in there and say, yes, I'm prescribing you chemotherapy and no good. Well, you ain't got no cancer. Just writing stuff because somebody done said write it. And you don't even know that the pill that he's giving you is chemotherapy. You're just taking it because he said so. Because he said, oh, and they love to get, this how all doctors that ain't doctors, this how they all do this. Oh, it's also used for this. Anytime a doctor tell you that, don't take it. Don't take it. Anytime they say, oh, you can also take, don't take it. Don't take it. Because that's what they do. So they tell you. You can also use it for this. Nope. Nope. Don't take it. They should not be giving you anything and you ain't seen their background, their license. I'm telling you, especially at Southern Regional, child, please. I'll call. They want to get a witness on this. Call Maxine Hopkins in August of 2020. I told Easter that man is a federal agent and he was in there with a shot, and I had did nothing wrong at all. I had just told him that I was not. I had told him something, and he said, "We're gonna give you a shot." And I said, "I shot for it." I said, "You can't give me no shot. I ain't combative. I ain't fighting you, and I ain't saying nothing wrong. You can't give me no shot because you ain't like what I said." Retarded. And he called them 5 people, them orderlies in there, and them people would not move. Once I told them, I was on the phone with Easter, and I said, he is a federal agent, and he is trying to shoot me with a shot at Easter. And them people said, that white man said, how does she know that people ain't move? He told them people to give me them shot. Them people ain't move. People ain't give me nothing. Not one thing. Because I quoted the law. I knew the law. God told me. Tell them they can't give you nothing unless you are danger to yourself, harm, or others. And if you gravely disabled or that you are violent towards them. God have an offense. Can't say nothing. Can't just go always say, oh, she did this. They have to have visual evidence of it. That's law, welfare, and safety codes. And when I knew that code, the man child and please, the people stood still and looked at that man. How did that lady know that man is a fed? The man is the fed child. Coming to give you that shot. Dope you right on up. And same thing, call the next witness. Call another. Now we playing court. Call another witness to the stand. Sharon Ellison to the stand. Sharon, can you tell the court, please? I know you don't like to talk about your traumatic experiences, but if you don't mind me asking, can you please tell the court for purposes? Did you endure any misconduct or misbehavior while you was in Pulaski State Prison or Alto State Prison at any time throughout your adulthood? Yes or no will be fine. Yes, I did. Uh, can you tell the court, was it any sexual abuse you experienced? Yes. Uh, did you receive any type of medication while you was in there, Miss Ellison? Yes, I did. Can you tell the court what medications were given to you? Mental health medications. No further questions, Your Honor. Mental health meds. So I'm gonna keep my phone right here. I should. Let me see. It ain't gonna see it right here. Really good. Praise Jesus. I should just have it where you could just see it right here. But yeah. So anyway, that's what my sister said. See, if I keep my phone on record my screen all day, I don't get them calls. People don't call me because they only be calling me to swap. Ketchup don't call me. Don't text because they have me being him. So I don't get no calls and texts from him. Nobody calls and texts me when this phone is on record. So that lets me know that is the key. Nobody talks. You don't get them dumb conversations. Nobody don't come to your door when I'm on record. Tell me, would you like to rob a bank today? That they don't do that because I be on record. Turn this recorder off. All kind of stuff gonna go down. All kind of come to the door. Hi, my name is Bob, and I robbed a bank this morning. Would you like to have some of the cash? That get off. Keep the recorder on. Keep recording the screen of this phone. Don't have to worry about that. They might be still doing stuff in the background, but it ain't connected. Them doing in the background all they want to. I don't care. I don't see it. But get off. If I get off this recorder and turn this recorder off, then get to talking. I don't want to hear no talking. No talking at all. Dumbass questions. Would you like to? Can I write a money order to you? Just don't ask me no dumb questions. Bait and tackle. Okay, so now let me go over here. It's two. I'm gonna end this at 2:30. At 2 hours and 30 minutes. Okay. Um, they just bought that cat back. They be bringing them cats over here because the FBI say I'm a witch. So they brings literally go get these stray cats from the pound. Long Booty that was at Judson Avenue. They went and brought her cat over here that she had. And whenever I leave and go out to the store, they bring these cats in this house. Sure do. They bring them in this house and bring these cats in the house, and these cats be walking through here. And that's why my room had fleas and no, in nobody else's room because they made the dog have fleas because the FBI said I got animals. A dog like what's over there at Dunlap. So they gave me a cat that's outside, and they gave me a dog that's at Judson Avenue. I mean, a cat that's at Dunlap, and no, a cat that's at Judson, and a dog that's at Dunlap. And so when I leave, they bring the animals in here and let them be on my bed, let them shit, piss, everything, and have fleas and make me miserable. So when you all bit up, you look like a liar. You're a liar. You got animals. You got fleas in your room. And they let those men come in here and have sex while I be gone and take pictures and put their balls out all over the bed. And they do that while I be gone every time I leave. Every single time I leave this house. So they make it where we aggravate you if you in the house and when you leave. If I'm in the house, they aggravate me. Um, they if I that's weird that they picked her up in a van. They um probably sending some kind of message. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Um, Nothing they do is strategic. So I mean nothing they do is coincidental. So that's the second death threat that I done got since I've been on here. Because anything that they pick her up in, or pick up one of the scouts in, that's what they gonna send to pick up for me for an Uber or a Lyft or whatever. So I don't pay them no attention. I get death threats all the time. I'm not gonna ever apologize or feel bad for anything that I've ever said, because it's everything that I believe in. And if I can't stand up for my life and my freedom, then I don't want it. So they're not gonna ever make me feel bad, because all of this and everything that I'm doing right now is lawful. And I'm in my own room. I ain't bothering nobody. I'm not loud. I'm not atrocious. And I'm on my live video that don't nobody see but the FBI. So I don't care what it's not like I'm public. And even if I was public, President Biden said it is what makes the democracy of our country for people to have freedom of speech. As long as you ain't violent, as long as you ain't encouraging violence, President Biden said it's encouraged. It's the way of our country. It's what makes us spicy. It's what makes us who we are. That's what the president said. So I don't pay them no attention. And they go up and can talk about the president and other stuff. I'm talking about what happened to me, and I don't care how much they threaten me or threaten my life. So what? It happened to me. It's the truth. They should be mad at themselves. They should have a. They should have got in control of it. They should have got in front of it. They should have fixed it and addressed it so that this would not have happened. They should have got in control of this when I first reported it in 2018, and they didn't, because they didn't care. They made my life like this. If I leave here walking, they say they're gonna run me over. If I leave here and go on an Uber to the store, they pick me up in cars that they done drove at other places. And if they even come. If I order me something to eat, they poison it. They do stuff everywhere. I was trying to think of the day, where is it for me to go eat? Because everywhere up here, they poison it. Everywhere. Everywhere. Yesterday, I went to Checkers the other day, and that girl, I went yesterday, they put a whole new boy in there to poison it. The hamburger didn't taste the same. And you know it's them because they will only let that person wait on you at the counter. Nobody else. So I don't want it. So, and I'm thinking if I was to go to Walmart, what can I possibly eat? Maybe something out the can. But they and I went to Kroger, they poison bananas. They don't care. Them people is relentless. I can't order nothing from DoorDash or Uber Eats. If not, then you know that you just risking it's gonna be poison. They gonna poison it. Ain't no if they going to poison it. They going to do that. Especially this Chick-fil-A. right here in 6485, or 6509, whatever that junk is. That Chick-fil-A right around the corner, loaded, loaded. Order it if you want to. That junk gonna be so bad. They got the worst. They got some, I don't know what kind of poison they use. It's worse. It's bad. Different restaurants use different poison. Panda use not all the time. I'm thinking that Panda must got some people that work that do it, or the delivery drivers do it. Or Panda probably don't put it in and let the delivery drivers do it. But Panda got the sleepy kind and the pea clear kind. But it ain't all the time. It's a hit and miss. And Chick-fil-A, 100% of the time, you're getting it. Sony got the sleepy kind. One to sleep as soon as you eat it. Knocked out. And let me see, who else got it? Who else I ate? Touchdown wings, you definitely getting it. Definitely getting it. And let me see, who else? Um, that's it. I'm trying to think. Who else is it? Uh, Let me see. Who else I order from? Ain't nobody else to order from. But anybody I order from, they gonna poison. You just, especially order from the store, Walgreens, or any water. I don't order nothing from Fayetteville. Ain't nothing legal in Fayetteville. Nothing. That's what ketchup in the man up there in Fayetteville. That's why it's so bad. Order death if you want to. Walgreens, that's all they get. And they send the honest, most honest person look like they ain't did nothing wrong. And they be up there doing the most. They got I order from Walgreens. Somebody else, a man, is going up there to buy it with a card, and he gonna swap with the lady and give her the stuff that the man done bought that's in a car already, and then they gonna wait, and you gonna get in that car in an Uber or a Lyft. That card is already gonna be linked with the card that you got, and then they gotta swap it so you could be the actual delivery driver. So you gonna that whole thing is gonna be one nasty swap. Nasty. Nasty. It's nasty. I'm talking about that man is nasty with how he swapped the junk up. I'm talking about nasty. By the time you get done with that one transaction, you be like, whoo, they gonna take a nap. You swapping up. It's a faggot. He gonna send a nasty, dirty, manged faggot up there to buy the stuff from Walgreens. And then you gonna get the stuff that he bought, and he gonna rub his balls all over him and everything, spit in that tea, everything, open it, cause they take them caps off, snap them off, and snap them right back on. Don't drink nothing from them. It's all nasty. Drop pills in it and everything. So I be going to sleep. Wake up chest hurting, wake up this hurting, that, because that's serving poison. Bring it, drop it off, and I'll be done paid for it. Sitting right here. Thank you. Yep. Poison. Poison all day long. Walgreens, Fayetteville. Yep. Then you're gonna pay for it. And then you get a receipt. Then they're gonna send you all kind of messages in the store to keep you looking at the phone, looking at the faggot's phone. And then while he looking at the phone, they gonna be putting his ball pictures on there. They're gonna be sending those out. So you're just gonna play a whole bunch of games. By the time I get done with them at the end of the day, I be tired. That's why I be sleeping so much. I be mentally exhausted from them and all the games they gonna play. They play games all day long, all day, from the time I get up to the time I go to bed. I'm not gonna let them tell me, Bill. It's what they be telling me to do stuff. I put that on, then they say, "Oh, she's building because we said so." Shut up. I put If I go to Walmart, if I go to let me say ordering from, this is all what's gonna happen if I go to order from Walgreens. A man is going, it's not a female, a nasty, mangy faggot is going. They're gonna send somebody, get dressed, look all dirty, piss on yourself, you want to be stinky, and wear glasses, get you some glasses, and make them have like receding hairline, tear all their hair, maybe put patches of pubic hair on top of the head, glue it on, use a wig or something like that, look all dirty, get you some white mouth, put all some crack ash around your mouth, go in there and buy the stuff, and this is the bank card. So the bank gives them a card that goes with mine. So if I got 2199, they gonna have the account in 2199. And then they phone number, I got 2829, they gonna have 3829. Then they gonna go in there, boo boo. Then they go in there and buy. Then you get what they buy. They gonna buy what you said buy. They gonna do that. Then they gonna get in the car, and that same car is gonna come pick you up the very next time you order Uber or Lyft. They gonna know you're gonna do it, and that car that he's in, and that's why when I got in the car Sunday and it smelled like booty, that was the car he was in. Getting there, and they gonna smell like booty, funk, and everything else. And you get in there, and they put grass all over the floor, make it look like you've been wallowing in the grass. Take a picture of that, and then you're gonna also swap with the driver, because the driver, you're actually gonna be the delivery person, because you're gonna be working. So then you got to swap with all his card and his phone and his demeanor. That's why majority men come pick me up. If women come pick me up, they be old, or they be from Africa, or be using the African thing. So you're gonna swap with men primarily so they can get as many ball pictures as they want. So then once I swap with that, then I'm gonna go, and what else they're gonna do? Once I swap with the men, then I'm gonna swap with, once I swap with men, once I swap with the driver, then let me see what else they're gonna do. Let me see. Um, um, they're gonna do they're gonna do let's see, once I swap with the store and that card and that receipt and get the poison, then they're gonna swap with the driver, and then what else? And then the vehicle. And then they're going to also be out of town in that same vehicle at the store doing the same thing. And that's going to be for a future swap. And then you're going to swap with that person too. And then they're going to keep calling and texting on the phone while that isn't going on. So they could keep getting your visual. Every time you look at that screen, at that little dot, that AI is taking a picture. Every time. They got about 54,000 pictures of me looking at that phone, looking crazy, looking at them. And the more you stare at it, the longer that AI is going to hold that video and that shot. And then if they really want you to stare at the phone, like they want me to stare at balls or look at something nudity they got on the phone, they will take the screen and they will turn it all the way down so they can get you to stare and squint. And if they get you to stare and squint, number one, they're going to be playing with your eyes. And number two, they're going to get you to do that because they want you to look close, like you're really looking at either balls or a vagina, one of the two, or something nasty and disgusting that they made. And they want you to look at it. And when you look at it trying to see why the screen is low, no, artificial intelligence got you looking at balls or a vagina. And it's going to be recording you looking at the screen, and they're going to put the two screens together. And that's how they make false evidence of pornography or pornographic activity. And then that same man that was probably had those balls in that message, he's going to come on your YouTube live later that day and say the same thing that he said on that. So when you write in your notebook that Hermit the Him came on my YouTube. It wasn't YouTube, you're retarded. It was on onlydicks.com. And that's where that message came from. And that's how they blend stuff. Every message and everything a person says at this point is all a part of the script. No one, absolutely no one, is coincidental. No one touches that driveway unless the FBI say so. Nobody. Not one person. Not even an accidental turnaround. Everybody come past that mailbox is a script. Not one person. Not one. Not one. Not one. Not one. Everybody is on script. Everybody got a role. Everybody got a position. We're in a takedown. Everybody got a script. Everybody coming here talking about they moving in, found a place to stay. They coming in with a device, or they coming in to play with they all brothers and sisters coming in to play with the rest of them, back it up to finish up what the other person done did. But ain't nobody just come. You just meeting people. That's why they all that retarded. That's why they all act exactly the same. Don't talk, ain't friendly. Talk one day, don't the next. All of them play the same bipolar personality because that's what the script is. She's bipolar and schizophrenic. So you talk to her one day, don't talk to her the next day. Talk to her and be nice one day, ignore her ass the next day. They all play the same thing. That's why you see one of them come in, they be real nice and friendly. Next day, they ain't got shit to say. They act like they don't see you. They all act like that. All stay in their room because they want you to stay in your room. They're training you. Stay in your room. Because when you stay in your room, we can act. Because we need to go in our room and take our balls out. And then go in the room, take their balls out, put the balls in front of the camera, and jack off and play with each other all day and play with cats and dogs and fleas and take pictures and write things and write in their notebooks that they have like mine. They do everything that I do all day long, 24/7, 7 days a week. Each room or each area is set up with a profile of that depiction of my character. Since they said I'm bipolar schizophrenic, they created multiple personalities. So they have Marie, Christian, Elijah, Eric, Chris, Derek, Tony, a Mexican, a hacker, Catherine, Christine, Terry, um, all of them, Mark, everybody. Have a lot of them, and just play with different people during the day. Play with different people. It's just so boring. Really thinking about if I want to get me something to eat and have nowhere to go where it's even safe to eat. And I feel better, a lot better, like myself when I don't eat their food. But if I order anything trying to be convenient and stay in and have fun, oh, they don't like none of that. They don't like none of that. They don't like none of that. You should see what they did to this wig. I ordered this wig yesterday. You should see what this wig's supposed to be. They took my wig, gave it to somebody else that is being me. Gave me this, and they plucked out all the edges. That's why this band line start way back here. They plucked out all the edges. They play games. They play serious games. They're not the nerve to be threatening to kill people all the time. I'm so tired of them. Oh, I've said 2:30. Charles 2:48. Let me get off of here. I'll be back. I'm going to start it back again, but let me get off here. I'll be right back. Talk to you later. Bye.